Quasar. Does anyone remember Nikola Tesla? What if I told you his research could be the explanation behind this bizarre video? Take a look at this.
But there's more.
Let's show that first video right now.
If that was your first time watching that video, you're definitely wondering what you just saw. I'll be honest, the first time I saw that video, I damn near shot my bridges. It's like you almost want to believe it's fake because of the implication of what it means if it's real. What you saw was a satellite view recording of the vanishing Malaysian Flight 370 on March 8, 2014. MH370 was a Boeing 777 airplane carrying 227 passengers, some of whom being important scientists developing highly valuable technology known as room temperature superconductors. This video isn't too widespread, and I'm not sure if that's because of some cover-up or if people aren't ready to believe what they just saw, especially in the age of AI. Now you're definitely wondering, what does Tesla have to do with any of this? Tesla was a highly prominent engineer during his time. Born on July 10, 1856 in Croatia, it's arguable that Tesla may have, if not done more for the advancement of mankind in the field of engineering than Edison. One of his leading inventions was the alternating current motor, which he made in 1877. This was important because we still use alternating current today to send electricity through power lines. This is one of the many steps to get power to your house. What even is alternating current? To put it simply, it's what it sounds like. A current that alternates. To be more specific, it moves back and forth or oscillates at regular intervals. This basically means the direction of the electrons switch back and forth. This technology is what helps power another one of his famous inventions, the Tesla coil, which he made in 1891. The Tesla coil is famous for being able to transmit electricity wirelessly. Imagine if projects like the Wardenclyffe Tower had been properly funded and more successful. We'd probably see more applications of wireless energy transmissions. One of Tesla's less favorable contributions to the scientific world was a strong belief in the aether.
How is the broadcast able to penetrate through walls and concrete and penetrate through all sorts of stuff? What is a radio wave? Is something being emitted? What is it? It is the ether, and it's going to go on to some Nikola Tesla quotes on that. Coming now to wire.
The aether is a hypothetical medium that's thought to fill space and is capable of transmitting electromagnetic and gravitational forces, and can even carry light waves. Generally, space is viewed as empty and without energy, but with the aether theory, this energy drop would turn into an unfathomable ocean of surplus energy waiting to be used. Now, I don't know everything about the aether, so I can only provide a surface-level layman explanation. I highly recommend Theoria Hypothesis' video explaining what the aether is, as he's been explaining it for years in a more digestible way. Now, what does this have to do with MH370? As you saw in the video, that shit clearly just vanished into thin air. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you're still questioning the legitimacy of the video, look at this infrared recording of the same incident.
And I do also want to show you guys this alongside the thermal image of this happening as well. Where did we get this, the thermal image? Was this created after the fact?
Same account.
Still not convinced? Alright, what about if you saw it through the perspective of a predator drone?
In terms of, okay, this first video comes out, and if this is a real video, someone's leaked this, they want people to pick it up. Nobody picks it up. And then all of a sudden, boom, now we've got a second video from a predator drone from a completely different angle than the first one. And so when people ask, like, what would it take for you to be convinced that something's real? It's like, well, I want two different videos from, different angles, from high quality sources, military sources, and you know what? put one of them in infrared and the other one in a thermal.
In these videos, you can see what appears to be 3 orbs orbiting around the plane moments before the impossible happens. What you're seeing right now is classified warp drive technology being used in the 21st century. Now, don't call me crazy just yet. The idea of a warp drive has been prevalent in media for decades.
Maximum warp. Punch it.
There have been ideas on how warp drive would work, but the main issue comes back to where would you find this unimaginable amount of energy laying around to activate a warp drive?
And so objects in these patches could have superluminal speeds. The warp drive takes advantage of this loophole by accelerating a patch of space relative to its surroundings. Objects in that warp bubble move with that patch without themselves ever feeling any acceleration. Alcubierre instead solved the equations backwards. He figured out the geometry of a warp bubble and then ran it backwards through the equations to see what distribution of matter and energy would be required. You can do this with any imaginable space-time geometry, but almost every geometry will produce an impossible mass-energy distribution.
Crazy enough, the science behind a warp drive doesn't technically break the laws of physics, as you wouldn't be moving faster than the speed of light. Rather, the space around you would move or warp to allow you to reach its destination faster.
But there are loopholes. In certain circumstances, we can think of space itself as moving. And there's no limit to the relative motion of 2 patches of space.
After Nikola's death, a large majority of his work was lost, and it's believed by many that at least 80 trunks worth of his life's work got stolen by the United States government. Now here's where everything starts to tie in. I'm gonna need you to play devil's advocate.
Are you seriously criticizing me?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to help, man.
You put me in a worse mood than I was in earlier.
And just believe for a second the government stole Tesla's priceless research, expanded on it, and soon was able to develop these orbs which are capable of drawing power from the aether to warp the space around an object and create a warp drive. Now, I must admit I look crazy coming out the gate and blaming the United States government for this, but look at the Malaysian Minister of Transport's response to the disappearance of MH370.
It's almost like he's saying the Americans talk to him, and he's got to be careful not to say it, but somehow it just kind of blurred it out.
Yeah, let's actually check out that moment right now because that sounds crazy.
But why not send the jets up if you have conceded earlier that you knew very early in the morning the plane was missing? There was 4.5 hours time in which to respond.
It was not hostile, it was commercial, it was from our airspace, we're not at war with anybody. I don't think so. I don't think that's speculative. Even if we send it back, are you going to say that we're going to shoot it down?
You said that, not me.
No, I'm asking you.
I could not
So what's the, if we're not going to shoot it down, what's the point of sending it up?
to see where it's going.
Well, to see it going, you need a fighter for that. If we're talking about military procedures, and if I did shoot it down, you'll be the first to say, how can you shoot down a commercial airline with 14 nationals, half of them Chinese? I'll be in a worse position probably.
Why shoot it down though if it's not hostile?
Well, the Americans would.
Now, you don't need to take a class in body language analysis to realize this guy's acting hella sketchy and maybe playing dumb. Not only that, but what's with the glance to the side like he's being held at gunpoint?
Why would you shoot down the plane? And he goes, well, the Americans would. And you're like, wait, what? It looks like he's looking at his handler. He gets these weird facial expressions.
Even people from Malaysia can't buy what this guy is selling. Take a look at this comment from a Candace Owens video. Hi Candace, I'm Malaysian and a long-time Candace Owens listener and thankful that you chose to cover this topic. I remember the day MH370 went missing because my mother's brother-in-law was the head steward on the doomed flight. When the early news of it going missing hit mainstream media, my mom was frantically on the phone with her sister to ask if her husband was on a flight. Unfortunately, he was. It wasn't even one of his usual routes. The roster changed somehow last minute and he had to work the flight with less than 24 hours notice. Most if not everyone in Malaysia knew this incident was a huge cover-up for something more sinister, one of them being the Prime Minister at the time scandal with billions of taxpayer dollars. Many families were torn apart that day, all because some very powerful people had shit to cover. We will never forget, this is just heartbreaking. This isn't just some bizarre phenomenon. This is a real-world event with real-world consequences. Now, one of the biggest questions is, why wouldn't any other powerful world leader do something, or at least acknowledge it? Well, fun fact, apparently they have, more specifically China.
Even if they saw it, what are they going to say? Actually, China did see it. China hacked the Malaysian government the next day, and they stole the crisis meeting minute notes about the plane and classified information about the plane. Why is there even classified information about the plane on March 9th, 2014? And then on March 13th, 2014, 5 days after this plane disappeared, satellite images get leaked to the internet from China. If you guys go look at these satellite images, and I should give them to you to take a look at as well, it clearly looks like 3 objects around something else. And they're in a triangle formation, just like we see in that satellite video. I actually tried to map up the clouds from the Chinese satellite images to see, like, are these exactly matches? But it's from much further away, like it's lower resolution. So it's like they saw something. It's almost like they let that leak to the internet as a message to be like, we saw what you did.
I highly suggest you go and watch the Candace Owens video really breaking down the ins and outs of this incident. There's tons of stuff I didn't cover as I just wanted to make a surface level connection to Nikola Tesla's work in this bizarre video. But if you have an hour to spare and don't mind having your mind blown, I definitely recommend this video. Whether you believe warp drive technology exists or not, don't forget to like and subscribe. This video is mostly for entertainment, and remember folks, stay educated.